Hidden deep in a swamp, you will find the tallest tree and the soft sound of music rising through the marshy terrain. This is because tucked away in its branches is a village of frogs. And this is the story of how this amphibian wonder came to be in my Minecraft Forever world. We have big plans this video, but before we can do anything, we need to grab our backpack, stock it with all of the tools that we're gonna need, and grab any resources we might need from our farm. Now we're good to stock up on some materials. I headed to my farms to get a bunch of dark oak, as well as much wool as humanly possible. While I was waiting for trees to grow and sheep to regrow their wool, me and my army of shears were harassing a local oak forest for boatloads of leaves. I picked up some brown concrete as well, and made sure to repair my axe as I went. So in real life, lots of frogs live in and around trees in different wetland areas. So what better way to stage our village than on a giant mangrove tree? Starting with the tree trunk base, obviously. If you've been here a while, you'll know I have a very complicated relationship with building trees. Some might call it love-hate. I'd probably just call it mostly hate until I'm done, and then I love it. But at this point, I am no stranger to building a gigantic tree to stick some houses in. Because apparently, I just can't resist the urge to turn anything into real estate. This one is going to be a little different to other ones that I've built though. I'm hoping for like a twisted, intertwined, giant root kind of vibe. You know, just something with a bit more drama than a big chunky trunk with a few branches waving at the top. Which sounds amazing in theory, but in practice, this tree might cause me a little bit of grief. Or a lot. We'll see. Anyways, I've got a little doodle of the general shape up on my second monitor. Very professional planner here, I know. And I'm basically just following that. It's gonna be one of those trust the process moments, so by the time I'm done with all my block placing tree chores, we should have something that at least resembles a giant mangrove tree, or it'll just be a large leafy pretzel, maybe. But either way, it's gonna be interesting. Let's get the base of this thing finished. Okay, definitely not looking anywhere close to a tree right now, but we'll get there. So now that we've got the tree base / roots done, we can move on to the actual structure of it all, which is honestly just more of the same, just eventually with the added bonus of potentially falling to our death. Although we are above water, so the risk is significantly less than with some of our previous giant tree builds. And whilst we're here building a tree for frogs, did you know that there are over 7,000 species of them? Unfortunately not within the mod that we'll be using, but in real life. That seems like an absurd variety of frogs, does it not? But apparently they're literally on every continent except Antarctica, which I guess makes sense because tiny ice cube frogs probably wouldn't do so well. Although, apparently they've uncovered fossils that suggest frogs used to live there when it was much warmer, so never say never, I guess. Oh, also, did you know that some frogs can jump over 20 times their body length? That's insane, right? Like, imagine if we could do that. I would never have to make another dirt tower to build ever again. Although, I guess jump boost is possible. But without jump boost or... Hang on, no. Without a beacon or potion, that's just not happening. So, we'll stick to it being out of reach for now. However... imagine us jumping that high in real life. Actually, I think I'd rather not. I think seeing humans hopping around in the air 20 times their body length would probably send me to the asylum, so probably best not to wish for that. I was really torn between wanting to do this as a growing tree or just as like a nursery log. You know, like one of those logs that fall over in the forest and they have like loads of plants and mushrooms growing out of them, but I just really like the idea of being able to have a big leaf canopy above the village, so of course we settled on the tree. But a nursery log would have also been super cute. Honestly, I'm so glad I went for the tree option because this is looking incredible right now. It doesn't quite look like a tree, but it does look cool. We're looking better than I'd hoped at this point, but now it's time to get our branches sorted, which is probably gonna make or break the shape of this tree. It's either gonna look majestic or like I let a toddler loose on my account. So wish me luck, guys. Honestly, I've been placing so many planks at this point that I'm definitely in danger of getting the Tetris effect later. Like how when Tetris released, people were seeing the game when they closed their eyes just because they were playing it too much. That's probably gonna happen to me tonight once I finish this tree. I'm just gonna be laying in bed, trying to sleep, and I'll see block after block being placed until I eventually drift off and then inevitably dream in Minecraft, which unfortunately has happened on more than one occasion. I've been sitting on something for a second just because I wanted to make sure that everything was sorted for this, but I have launched channel memberships. I wanted to make sure that they were worth it to you guys, but one of my favorite parts is that I have a members hangout spot on my Discord server. I've already gotten to chat to a couple of you guys and it's honestly been so fun just to hang out. Everyone is so lovely and I am just really excited to be able to meet more of you. Okay, first of all, this does look really good. Second of all, it looks like lots of scary hands, does it not? Especially this one. It looks like a claw like reaching out into the sky, and then this one kind of looks like maybe there's like two hands and they're sort of like touching in the middle. That's not intentional, they're not actually touching, it's just the angle that I'm stood at, but I'm pretty happy with that, despite it looking a little bit scary. I am almost certain I have seen this generation of land before, which means we must be pretty close to our little portal nether highway forest transformation thing, which is so funny because I literally walked here and I could have taken my nether highway the entire time. I just didn't remember there being a good spot to build this gigantic tree, but lo and behold, it was right there. But where is our portal? Sorry, this is a slight tangent, but I really need to know if this is the same place or if that is just a really suspiciously similar thing. Anyways, let's go find it. I cannot believe this. Look at where our tree is. I walked all the way here when I could have just taken this portal. Oh look, a frog. That's definitely not a modded frog, but it is a frog nonetheless. Let's go say hi. Hey little froggy. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you because I gotta go back to building a big old tree. Wait, I just realized that this is actually the structure that I was remembering and not the one over by our tree. So the fact that we found our previous place is actually pure coincidence and due to my poor memory, but also in a positive way? I don't know, but let's get ourselves back to building this tree because the sun is going down, so we have officially wasted like a whole day doing this. All right, now we are on to the tree leaves, and this bit is always pretty stressful because it's just a constant cycle of crouching, uncrouching, leaning over the edge, placing a block, and praying I don't fall at any point. But I know I've done this and stuff like it a million times before, but that doesn't really make my palms sweat any less. And yes, technically there is water beneath me, so if I do fall, it's not necessarily a guaranteed demise, but let's not forget that there's also now a lot of extra wood down there, plus all the vanilla trees, so the likelihood of a life-threatening fall is still alarmingly high. It's basically the Minecraft equivalent of doing a high wire act over a pile of very pointy sticks, and for some reason, I keep signing up for it. Although actually, I probably could make a really horrific walkway that's just a single chain going across a canyon full of dripstone spikes for a high wire act. But anyways, that is completely off topic. Let's get these leaves placed. As you can imagine, I spent a long time placing all of those leaves to fill out the tree, and honestly, despite the fear of falling and the sheer amount of leaves I had to place, it was actually fairly easy. The harder part came later when I had to awkwardly build from underneath the canopies to make those long, trailing, vine-like leaves to match the style of mangrove trees, which basically meant a lot more crouching on edges and hoping I wouldn't meet an untimely death. But this time, I also got to have a little bit of motion sickness from building looking up at the sky. Is that just me or does anyone else get that feeling? And hello? Millie, where have you been? Right, I don't quite believe you. Let me help you get out of there. Break a little bit of grass here. You're just in time to give your thoughts on our tree, which, in my opinion... Hello? Millie, please. What do you think of our gigantic tree? That's what I was saying. Anyways, I think it's safe to say that our tree here is finished and it does look absolutely insane. Almost as insane as I feel after building it. But let's go get some more materials. Yippee! I headed underground for diorite, stone, and coal, as well as some diamonds for repairing tools. I headed back to my farms to top off my woods and bone mealed some of my mushrooms for crimson wood. I then crafted some lanterns and picked up some sand to smelt. So I fear I'm gonna need to be a little bit selfish and build my house first, mostly so that I can move my things inside because I'm not really enjoying living in a dirt box at the moment. I've already filled in some of the land so that I've got space here, and now I'm just getting the foundation and the frame sorted. Also, I'm keeping my house out of the way over here because I want the whole tree area to belong to the frogs. Plus, with my house down here, it's way more accessible for me, which is pretty necessary if I want to keep things moving and not spend half my time climbing in and out of a giant tree every day. As cute as it would look, I have way too much ahead of me to be messing around like that. Okay, that's the foundation pretty much done. Let's just do a little outline and then we'll get to work on the frame. So I'm gonna run around and add in these oak posts first because these are gonna be the markers for the frame. Now that all the posts are in place, we can go ahead and add our outline. Millie, if you could move. Thank you. I think I need to move this block back one. That looks much better. Now let's just join all of this up with just this kind of cobblestone brick. Is that what it is? Yeah, cobblestone brick from the chipped mod. Now it's time for the frame, which is going to be slightly uneven, but once it's all done, it will make sense, don't worry. So on this post here, we're going to go up one, if Millie, you could move, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're just going to jump into this little bit of water that I put down so that we don't break our ankles. Now for the walls of my house, I'm just going to fill everything in with calcite and concrete powder for now, and then I'll go back in and add in the windows, mainly because at the moment I'm not entirely sure where I want them to go. Sometimes I already have an idea, so I purposely leave the gaps for them in advance, but this is not one of those times. Alright, let's get those windows in. So on the front ones, I'm just going to do these types of windows and put this piece of concrete powder back in, and then on these ones, let's just do this type of window. Then just to mix it up a little, I'm going to do a couple of these topped off with one of these. Then over here, let's just do these and these. Perfect. So with the top floor of the walls done and the outline of the roof, here is how we're looking. Definitely looking a little funny at this stage, but hopefully once we get that roof filled in, it will look a lot more normal. I spent some time getting the roof filled in with mangrove wood and a few blocks of warped wood for a bit of variation. This was definitely a bit of an experimental roof, but I figured I'd try something different to, you know, really impress our future neighbors. The frogs, of course. I also decided to add some mushroom blocks on the right side of the house to make it look like they were just naturally growing out of the roof rather than being intentionally put there. That said, I did sneak in a few mangrove slabs around them so that they'd blend in with the rest of the roof a bit better, so make of that what you will. Then with the roof all done, I added an extra detail of a chimney. So the last thing I need to do here is cover the roof in leaves just a little bit, then we can take a little step back and see the grand reveal of our house. Ta-da! I feel like it's like the perfect quirky little cottage. Let me show you the back as well because I added some different details back there. Oh, it's kind of hard to see, but I added a little balcony out the back here, and I'm also just realizing I forgot to put the doors back in. So let's do that and then we can move everything in. Are you ready for the grand reveal of our interiors? Please say yes, because I'm going to show you anyway. So today we're starting with the upstairs and we have this really cute bed area with a little canopy and some curtains. Then over here, I might have gone a little bit crazy adding in a bunch of storage and making it look like a big dressing room. But we have a bunch of storage, a couple of our chipped mod benches, our normal crafting table, and a mirror that unfortunately doesn't reflect, but it would be really cool if it did. Then through this door right here is just another balcony where we can watch the moon. Moving on to downstairs. Oh, hey Millie. Oh, I completely forgot to show you. Millie has a little bed too, next to our robe. So downstairs we have this really cozy living area, and I included this little picture of a frog because of course it's appropriate for what we're doing here today. And over here we have our fireplace and our cozy little reading area. Then in this little gap we have our dining area. Now unfortunately I didn't really know where to put our kitchen. It's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel nice walking right into the kitchen, but it is a lot of storage, so it's going to be really convenient at least. And with that, let's get ourselves our first good night's sleep indoors. And my brain just went blank. And let's do it before the sun comes up again. Good night. So now we've got somewhere safe to sleep and store some stuff, let's get back to building for our lovely froggies. I will eventually get around to showing them off to you guys, but I still haven't found the Ribbits village myself. And we absolutely cannot rehome them with no homes for them to home in, can we? So with that being said, let's build a town hall. Look, I know it's not technically a home, but it's still a building for the frogs, okay? And if you're not familiar with the mod, let me tell you a little something about it. They have musical frogs. Frogs that literally play instruments. I cannot wait to see them with my own eyes, but the reason that I'm starting with a town hall is because I thought it'd be the perfect central spot for the musical frogs to hang out and play their music. Kind of like their own little frog concert venue. Okay, that is our frame and our foundation done. Now we've got to fill in the walls, which is gonna be a kind of weird situation because we have all these bits of the tree that are still like sort of creeping into the main area. I'm not sure whether I should leave them or cut them away. I feel like I will cut them away eventually, but for now, let's just get all of the main blocks in and then we'll do all of that other stuff right at the end. Oh, I'm putting those in the wrong spot. With all the walls filled in, let's add in some extra details with these trapdoors to look like little tiny cute windows. Once I had filled the base of the roof with even more oak blocks, I got to work on the actual roof. I was pretty sure the Ribbits villages were very mushroom themed, so I wanted to make sure our future frogs felt right at home in our town hall at the very least. So I used a mix of mushroom blocks and mangrove wood to roof this bad boy. It's cozy, it's a bit whimsical, and it should give them that familiar mushroomy vibe that they're used to. And with a couple extra details like our azalea leaves and a little tiny brown mushroom, our town hall is complete. It's definitely not the biggest thing ever, but this is 4 tiny frogs, so I think we can let this pass. It's also worth noting that the interior is obviously not decorated, but that's something I'm going to deal with later. And now let's jump back down into the water. And let's get started on our next build. So I was racking my brain trying to figure out how I wanted to do the farms for this one. And trust me, I have built a lot of farms in my time playing Minecraft. But I saw a reference on Pinterest, something I've somehow never thought of before. And that is lily pad farms. Not like farming lily pads, but like big lily pad builds with the farmland and crops inside. And it just looked incredible. And tell me that it isn't the perfect thing for this build. We're literally gonna have a frog tree house with lily pad farms. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it gets any more perfect than that. So that is one lily pad done, and what I'm going to do here is add in a few other larger lily pads around for the farms, and then also do a couple of smaller ones because I'm planning to add some water lily flowers to really sell the vision and give it that extra bit of decoration. But first, let's get all of our outlines done so that we can actually see what we're working with and figure out if anything needs adjusting before we go all in. Okay, no complaints here. Let's get back down to the water and get them filled in and decorated. Okay, now we have everything filled in. Let's make our little water lily flowers. So I'm going to start by just doing a white wool in the middle. Then on each corner, I'm going to do a slab of cherry wood, and then in the gaps, just some cherry leaves. Super simple, but I feel like, especially from above, it's really going to sell that look. Now we're going to take a little swim over to this section, and we're going to do some much smaller flower things by just literally putting a single piece of cherry leaf there. Oop. So for a bit of extra detail, I've added in some glass too. I don't know how much difference it really makes, but I've added it, so I'm going to keep it there. But for now, I'm going to run around and add in some of these green fairy lights to make sure these are nice and lit up. Probably not really going to see the effects of them until it's darker, but we still got to put them in. And on these, I'm also going to put in some white fairy lights so that these really stand out. So let's take another little swim over to this section, and we'll do a green light here, a green light here, and then just a white light on top of each of these leaves. And now we have some extra lily pads put down. Let's till all of this land. I do want to point out, I know I have a diamond enchanted hoe. However, I didn't actually craft this or enchant it. I think I found it in the ancient city when I was collecting every disc, so please don't be mad at me. I don't know why you guys would be mad at me for that anyways, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't even have an enchanted axe or shovel yet, and I have an enchanted diamond hoe. I also just thought it has efficiency on it, so... Wait, does this even... That doesn't feel faster than usual. I guess maybe it's just faster at collecting skulk or other things, moss perhaps? I don't know. Anyways, now with all of our land tilled, let's plant all of our potatoes. And I know what you're thinking, you usually only eat wheat. What's going on? These are not for me to eat. And also I want them to be green so that they match the lily pads. When the wheat grows in, they're gonna be yellow. And that isn't what we want here. So these are technically just for aesthetics, but also the frogs will need something to farm. And I feel like they'll enjoy potatoes a lot more than wheat. Probably not, to be honest. What do frogs even eat? Flies and stuff? I guess. I feel like I should know this. Also, fun fact, I technically have an accidental frog sanctuary in my garden. Well, actually not frogs, we have toads, but it's basically a frog, so I think it counts. But basically every single night, without fail, there are just at least 3 toads underneath the garden furniture. I don't know what they like about it. I guess it's just kind of damp or something, but they're always there every night. And it's really cute. Also, the little piece of lore that I have in my brain for this is that the frogs farm on lily pads because the lily pads collect the dew and it saves them time on watering. And just in case you're wondering, here's how they look with all the lights on. Well, the lights are always on, but you know, now that the moon's up. Anyways, now that we have our farms, we simply must have a farmer's house. So let's get started on the frame and foundation for that. Okay, that's the frame and foundation. Let's start filling in the walls. So I'm going to start by just filling in a couple blocks here with just normal oak planks. Then let's go ahead and use some spruce stairs. Something feels wrong here because I wanted there to be a middle, but now there suddenly isn't. Do I need to bring this across? I probably do. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Oh, that looks so cute. Anyways, back to this build. That looks good. Let's join those back up. Then in the middle, let's use some trapdoors. And cut out a hole for a normal door. Then on this side, we're going to do a little mix of these kind of oak planks and just normal oak planks. Then let's fill in these gaps with more trapdoors. Why is that not going in the right place? Oh, it's because I already have a trapdoor in that spot. Then for this wall, let's just go all the way around with normal blocks. Perfect. Now, I definitely want these houses to be unique and a little bit quirky, so I've marked out the roof outline, and you may notice it slopes up to one side kind of weirdly. I have done a similar roof to this before, or at least I think I have, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder to get right than your standard triangle, stairs and slabs type roof, so you might have to bear with me here. Okay, it's definitely looking a little strange, but also kind of what I'm going for. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other side, and then we can see what else we can add. So the roof is done, and I actually think all this needs is a few leaves to cover the roof, because of course this is an end build and we cannot go with we can't go without adding at least a couple leaves. And I'm also gonna add in some azalea leaves down the bottom, or maybe... Okay, wait, I want to change the ones on top to azalea leaves so they're a bit brighter, but I will leave the ones down here as just oak leaves. And with a few lanterns, here is our farmer's house complete. Again, the interior is pretty empty, but we will deal with that later. Because right now, I need to head out for some more materials, and I just realized how pretty close I was to just jumping on top of a lily pad right then. I chugged some coffee and then headed out for more wood, lanterns, and crimson wood. I then headed to a desert which I looted for sandstone, and headed underground for diorite. Lastly, I bone mealed some azaleas for their leaves, and picked up some diamonds for repairs. So, this mod has a sorcerer villager which is super cool, and I don't think you can trade with them, but they occasionally cast spells to give passive buffs to the player. I don't know exactly what those buffs are, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. But anyways, a villager as cool as that obviously needs their own house, so that is exactly what we're up to right now. I do kind of wish that I hadn't built the leaves yet. Logically, I had to get them done first, or did I? I don't know, but it's just so dark under here unless it's literally the crack of dawn or sunset, especially when you're building with dark oak like I currently am. Having to hold a torch definitely isn't the worst thing in the world, but it also isn't ideal. I'm just now realizing that as I put these walls in, this is gonna get very tiny inside. But to be honest, as I've said before, they are tiny, tiny frogs. So hopefully they don't mind too much that they have a little tiny house to live in. Anyways, now that all of our walls are in, let's add in some windows and a door. For the roof, I'm sticking with the mangrove theme, and don't worry, I will be stripping this so that it's red. And I'm also going to keep it pretty simple so that we don't end up spending too long trying to figure out how to make this roof. So let's add in a couple of these blocks just like this. Let's also do a row of those behind. Then we're just going to build up like this. Again, like I said, this is going to be super, super simple. Okay, I said that and now I'm confused. I don't think I meant to put this here. I think I just need to go ahead and do slabs instead. Okay, yeah, I feel like that works. Then after a few really cute extra details, our sorcerer's house is complete. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, it's kind of hard to see me. It's kind of hard to see because it is in the shade right now, but trust me, it's pretty cute. Maybe I can get up a bit closer. Okay, it's definitely really hard to do it justice because if I stand here, even if I was up high, you wouldn't be able to see like the sides of the walls here because I added in these palisades. But trust me, it looks cute. If you would like to, go down in the comments and tell me that the sorcerer's house looks really, really nice and you can totally see all of the details. Thanks! I just hope our little sorcerer likes it too. Oh, that was probably the worst jump into the water ever. This may be kind of niche, but I'm gonna be so honest, the whole theme of this video reminds me so much of that time that Brennan Lee Mulligan played a weird little frog D&D character on Dropout. Like, I could just totally see that little guy living here. Anyways, let's get some storage going because even though our house has storage, I feel like we always need a dedicated area because honestly, I just run into my little house and throw things in the chests and call it a day and everything gets all messed up. So let's make a dedicated storage area and try and keep things organized. Plot twist, it's never gonna happen. But it is the thought that counts, right? So we've pretty much got the base structure of the storage house done. Now let's just add in some extra details on the front and then we can get to work on the roof. Since this is over here by my house, I am matching the roof of the house by mixing in the mangrove wood and the warped wood. I just realized I've been calling it warped wood this whole time and it's literally crimson wood. What am I talking about? If anybody caught that the first time I said it way back when I was building this house, well done to you because I obviously didn't catch myself. Anyways, let's get this roof filled in. With the addition of some leaves and a lantern, our storage hut is done. Of course, it's nothing crazy. It's literally just somewhere to put a few chests in, but it still looks really cute. And when I said somewhere to put a few chests in, that is exactly what I've meant. It's not the cutest interior either, but we will close those doors and we'll only store stuff in there so we don't really have to look at it too much longer. This, however, looks incredible. And also so does this. This is very cute. Millie? Is she stuck in my house? I guess it's our house. Mills, where have you been? You've been napping this whole time? I've literally done so much since I last saw you. You know what, Mills? You are so right. It's almost impossible to get over there for you unless you swam, I guess. Maybe I can fix that. So as Millie pointed out, the treehouse is currently pretty inaccessible and honestly, now that I think about it, swimming back and forth is a bit of a hassle for me too. So today we're gonna create some bridges, or maybe more of like a dock type thing, a boardwalk maybe. I don't really know what to call it, but basically just some platforms around the lily pads and whatnot so that they're easier to get to. That way, not only will they be accessible for me and the sweetest fox in the world, but they'll also be perfect for our little farmer frogs to hop around on and also access the farms. Okay, I had to do a fair bit of finessing, but I feel like I've perfected it now. I've got like the perfect little curve on each of the pathways, and now I just need to add in these trapdoors for railings, which I'm really not looking forward to because, I don't know, I just know it's going to be long. I think for the railings, we're going to have to come out to this level, and this is why I was saying it's going to be long because, oh, I didn't need to get rid of that one, but I need to put down a block here so that I can put the trapdoors here, if that makes sense. Which means that we're going to have to place down double the blocks and then remove half of the blocks. So as I said, this is going to be a little bit long. And I just realized I'm going to have to deal with the corners. I think I figured this out here though. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Then we're going to have to do this here. Oh, actually this should be fine because then we can just do this. And then this, and then those should all match up fine. Nope, I placed that in the wrong place. Millie, what are you doing down there? I've literally built an entire boardwalk for you and now you're swimming? What's going on? She just wants to swim, that's fine. Anyways, I do think I was being a little bit dramatic because this actually isn't that difficult at all. It's just more than I want. Oh, actually, am I confused? I might be confused right now. Okay, I think if I do these blocks first, we should be fine. And then I can figure out how to join up this side. Oh, actually, it's probably the exact same, right? I just do a block here. Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely being dramatic. This is not difficult at all. Unless... oh, how do I do this? This is definitely a little bit more difficult, but I think I've got it. Alright, that did take me a little while, but honestly, I don't know what I was worried about because that was pretty easy. I will eventually join this all up, but for now, let's go get a nap. Or take a nap. even. I'm just realizing this is definitely way longer than just swimming. Never mind though. It looks cute. Oh, completely forgot to do this side back here. Mills, are you good? You've been stuck there for a while. Let me help you. Silly girl. So I've gone around and added in a bunch of leaves and a bunch of moss, and I'm just finishing off placing the moss over here. And yes, I did see Millie swimming, even though I've built this entire boardwalk for her. But anyways, on the note of the frogs, they need a way down to the farm. So I thought I'd keep it really simple and just add in some stairs where I can. That's going to be difficult to do. Let's just do that like that. And I also joined up this farm with these pieces of glass. I don't know if the frogs will be able to go over them. I presume they can because Millie had no problem right then. But then over here, I thought I'll just add in another load of stairs just in case. Then let's also add some stairs in this spot here. And I've also left a gap over here for another set of stairs. And I joined up this one because this one doesn't have any stairs to it. I think it's safe to say that that is looking much, much better now. I'm gonna go repair my axe and head out for some more materials. Ouch. Once again, I found myself topping off my wood before descending into the mines for stone, andesite, granite, coal, and diamonds. I crafted some chains, note blocks, and hay bales. Then I topped off my wool, moss, and sandstone. Okay, so you may remember I mentioned some frogs that will play music to you, which means there is absolutely a frog job where it's just to be a musician. So we're gonna build a musician's house today. Of course, they'll play in the town hall, but they still need somewhere to live. You know this is a fantasy world because someone whose job is literally just village bard can own a house. So we've got our foundation and kind of our frame done. Let's strip all of this wood. And actually, I don't need this post here. Usually I would fill in the walls right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with the roof detail. I know this is a little bit random, but it just feels like the right thing to do. So we're gonna go across 3 from the middle like this. Then we're gonna add in one of these on the corner and then just do the same all the way around. Then we're gonna use birchwood to come out 2 blocks. And we're gonna have to change the orientation of this too. We're going to build up to create like a dome sort of shape. So let's do this block followed by a stair, another block, and then we'll just do another block like this, get rid of this one and change that to a slab. Then on the very edge here, we're going to do one of these trims. Perfect. Then we're going to fill in the center with a single glass block. Now with that part done, let's get our walls filled in. Oh, hey Mills, what's up? So I'm just going to keep it really simple and use more of these mixes of oak planks. Mills, could you move out the way maybe? Nope, you're just going to take a seat there. Okay, thank you. Immediately goes to take a nap. Just finishing up some of the details for the roof outline, and then of course we can get to filling in the roof. Roof, I'm keeping the mangrove theme going by using more mangrove variations, and I've got a feeling this is going to be a little bit finicky because that top dome detail is kind of in the way, but it's going to look really cool when it's done, so it'll definitely be worth it. Or at least I hope it will. Luckily, it's not a very big space to fill. I am glad there was water beneath me, although that wasn't much of a drop. Still very inconvenient though. Anyways, the bottom of the roof is filled in. Now I've got to figure out this dome situation. So I'm gonna use this kind of block, and I think I just need to fill in these little areas right here. I guess we'll just do this. Oh, it's probably easier to just literally fill in everything like this and then use these blocks to make it look a bit more interesting. Does that work? This feels wrong. Maybe I need to put this here. Yeah, okay, I think that's gonna be better. Ouch! Okay, the roof is all done, so I've added in some windows and a lovely door. Now let's add some extra details with these oak palisades. Then I was thinking this looks a little bit too flat, so I'm gonna add in some sandstone, not there, but here. Then I'm gonna use a sandstone slab, do a couple of these, and then use the trims either side to finish it off. Then, with a few leaves, our musician's house is complete. Okay, today we're gonna make the cutest little market setup because we can trade with some of the frogs, and I know we can technically trade with them from anywhere, but I just think it'll be insanely adorable to have them inside little market stalls. But first, we do need to finish building this platform so that we actually have somewhere to put the market stalls. And I'm also officially connecting the houses up to the walkways as part of the same task. That way everything's linked up properly and the frogs and me can wander between the houses without doing a whole circus act to get to them. Okay, we're all filled in and connected up, and I've added in a few little pathway blocks just because I feel like there is a lot of wood going on. But before we get right into the actual market itself, I'm going to add in some extra details by adding in some hay bales here and just a few barrels about the place. For the market, so let's mark out the front of our markets by putting a couple of blocks just like this. As you can see, they are going to be very tiny market stalls, but again, the frogs are also very tiny, so it's allowed. So that is our first one marked out. Let's do a second one right here. Let's do a third one right here. And finally, a fourth one right here. Then for an extra detail, I'm just going to add signs all the way along the front of all of them. For the roofs, we're going to keep it really simple by just using a bunch of oak stairs on either side, and then an oak slab in the middle. And in a second, once I've done all of these, I will cover them in carpet and they'll look super cute. And with those added, the entire area is really starting to come together now. I am so excited to see these frogs. So a while ago, I complained about how dark it is under the tree, and now that we've got the majority of our structures in place, I think it's finally safe to spend some time up in the tree placing these chains and lanterns to light it up a bit under here. I probably could have done this earlier, but honestly, I just didn't want to. This task is kind of reminiscent of adding the trailing leaves to the tree, only this time it's even harder because I have to aim my block placement way more accurately. Especially since the hitbox for the end of the chain is much smaller than an entire leaf block. Okay, at long last our tree is covered in lanterns. And now it's time to head out for more materials. I headed out for mushroom blocks of both the brown and red variety, as well as their stems. Once that was sorted, I topped off my woods and my leaves. Lastly, I headed underground for more stone and diamonds for various repairs. So, quite clearly, we are surrounded by water over here, but I thought it'd be incredibly cute for the frogs to have a little wishing well. I already had that little lore moment of the frogs collecting their water from the dew on the lily pads, but I think that a well for them to toss their... I think their currency is amethyst shards, actually, but yeah, throw their amethyst shards into and make a little wish would be adorable. And I bet wherever they are right now, they are wishing they lived in a giant mangrove tree, and I'm gonna be the genie that makes that come true. Of course, the well can also theoretically be for collecting water, but that part's pretty straightforward. I'm just realizing I'm gonna be stuck in here. Let me make a little hole that I can escape from. And then let's finish filling this in. So now that our well goes all the way down to the water, I just need to add in a little bit of chain and, to be honest, probably break this block here so that I can place another chain and then just a lantern back here. Oh, and almost completely forgot the supports for the roof. Perfect. Then I'm just going to finish this off with a few of these path blocks. I just thought we could probably do with a few leaves too. Unfortunately, we don't have any amethyst shards yet, but we do have leaves that I love. Oh, I can't throw my leaf in. I want to make a wish. Oh, there it goes. And I can't tell you my wish because otherwise it won't come true. Frog houses, lily pads. What else is missing? If you said mushrooms, you would be absolutely correct. So let's go ahead and add some chanterelle looking mushrooms up and down the tree wherever there's some free space. And if you don't know what I mean by that, they're just like the kind of mushrooms that stick to tree trunks and they look like little shelves or tables. I believe they're edible in real life, but there's also a few mushrooms that look pretty similar to them that are very much not edible. So personally, I wouldn't risk it. Better to just enjoy them for the aesthetic and leave the mushroom taste testing to someone else. And let's also not forget to add in some mushrooms on the back side, because even though the back doesn't really matter, it's still good practice to sort of take care of every side of your build. No matter, because even if you're coming from this way, you are still going to see the back side, so it's better to keep it cute, in my opinion. See, the tree looks cute from the back, and it looks good from the front. Also, since they're kind of hard to see, here are the little mushrooms that I added. Very sweet. So now that we have all of the mushrooms on the trees, I feel like it's a good time to add in some red mushrooms and other brown mushrooms just around the area to fill in some spaces and make the mushrooms feel a little bit more consistent with the surrounding area, because right now it's just on the tree. And then the entire swamp around it has 0 mushrooms. Over here, I've added in our first little mushroom cluster, then I've added another one over here. Oh, I forgot to top this one off, 1 second. Oh, but actually whilst I'm up here, here's our third one. All right, oh, that's the wrong block. Let's top this off with some brown mushrooms. And to be honest, I feel like I'm gonna add in maybe another bigger mushroom here and maybe another red one, just because I feel like the one that we did over here is just a little bit far away. So I feel like we just need a little bit more mushroomy action going on closer to the viewing area of the build. Alright, that is looking really good. I headed out armed with my shovel in search of dirt. Along the way, I picked up some lily pads and more azalea leaves. I headed underground for granite, andesite, and amethyst shards, then one last round of tool repair diamonds. Once that was sorted, I crafted more lanterns and headed home. So, all this talk about different frogs and whose house is whose, let's finally go and rehome our lovely frogs. After I actually find a Ribbit's village, that is. I'm actually so excited to see them all hopping around and doing their thing in my world with my own eyes, because up until this point, I have only seen them in mod showcase videos. I feel like this is genuinely going to be so much fun, and it's going to make the whole place come alive in the cutest way possible. Oh, I feel like that might be it. Okay, wait, I'm actually kind of nervous. I don't know why. How do I find these frogs? They've got to just be walking around, right? Any frogs? Oh my gosh, look at all these really cute little details. I feel like I need to pick these up so that I can add them to our build somewhere so they feel really at home, but also I feel kind of bad stealing their light, so maybe I won't do that. Okay, I can hear frogs, but I go, oh my goodness, what is that? Oh, that is the cutest thing ever. And there's another one right here. Oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? I just went to check my notes and now I can't find the frog that had the backpack, and I think the one with the backpack is the merchant, which is going to sell us a maraca, which is going to get these guys playing music. Oh my gosh, there's the sorcerer. Give me a potion. Ah! It doesn't seem to say I have any kind of effect on me, but I don't really know what that potion just did to me. Maybe it just gave me like trading buffs? I don't know. This is definitely the merchant. Please sell me a maraca. Okay, I only need one. Thank you. And then if I play the maraca? Nothing. I am hoping some of these frogs have normal sized beds somewhere because I need to sleep because it's getting very dark outside. Oh my gosh, that is the cutest thing ever. Frog bunk beds? Ah, I hear the music. Where are you? Oh my gosh, there's a fisherman. Oh, I forgot there was a fisherman. Okay, we can definitely take him back because we have plenty of water. Let's also grab some mushrooms and some of these. Where is that music coming from? This is the cutest little song ever, but where are they? Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh, this is so fun. Oh, this might be the best thing that's ever been added to Minecraft. Oh, what a song. Okay, we do have to figure out how we're gonna get these guys back because there is quite a lot of them and I did travel not too far but a fair way. I obviously have the pickup. Oh, I need some of those too. I obviously have the pickup mod, which is gonna be fine, but I can't run with that. I feel like I need a better solution than that. Do I have leads? I feel like back at home I have some leads. Maybe that's the way forward. Okay, I've got my leashes and now it's time to find out if we can even put a lead on them. Okay, we can. All right, so we can grab 3 of these at a time and just walk them back home. Easy peasy. I do feel a little bit guilty because these guys are the cutest thing ever, but we are gonna take, well, maybe not all of them, but as many as we possibly can. Is that another village or is that part of this village? Oh no, there's too many. And they're also stuck playing music right now. Come with me. Oh goodness. Okay, I may have to carry them. Oh, also, I just traded with the merchant for some swamp lanterns and the fisherman for an unbreaking rod that I can put on my lore rod that I got from... Where did I get that from? It wasn't the ancient city, but it was like one of those places whilst I was collecting every music disc. Okay, at long last we are back with quite a few frogs and I just wanted to show you this little gardener frog. How adorable is that? But basically, if I come over here and plant a few potatoes, the gardeners will come over and they'll water them, basically bone meal them to make sure that they all grow in. Look at them go. Oh my gosh, this is literally the insanest cutest thing ever. So cute, in fact, my brain has stopped working. Why are you not doing your job? I don't mind, but what's going on? Oh, they're starting up their song again. I guess they don't want to work today. That's absolutely fine, but you did see this one do the job, right? Why are all of the frogs in the water right now? I feel like this isn't good. Maybe I shouldn't have put them all over water like this. Are you good? I feel kind of bad. Oh, let me play my maracas. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Anyways, we've still got a little bit of work to do, so let me go and do that. So to start wrapping up our build here, we need to light it up a little. We have the hanging lanterns from the tree, but the pathways and whatnot are still pretty dark, so I'm just going to place a few lanterns about the place, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep it lit up. And finally, I'm just going to run around and add in a few extra details where there are none. Like these pathways to my house and a little pathway from the storage to my house. But unfortunately, I did originally plan for this to be like a back entrance, but then I made the, what is it called? The like reading nook type thing, which meant, unfortunately, we cannot put a door there, but we can still create a little path that goes from here to the house and pretend there is a door there. Then under here I've added in a bunch of leaves and I'm just filling in some extra spots with these lily pads. Hey Mills. I have temporarily turned off mob sounds because, not that the music was a problem, but it was just very, very loud. And honestly, because it's so inconsistent, I kind of want it to not be a nightmare for my editors. I've also switched out a few leaf blocks for moss blocks so that we can plant a few of these mushrooms and some of the swamp daisies. And since it's kind of hard to find good spots to put the moss blocks, I am just going to plant the rest of these around the house. And then I need to find a few areas that I can use up these swamp lanterns. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good, and just before we roll the outro, I wanted to show you something really cute. I'm gonna feel really bad doing this, but if you put the frogs on the edge of something and push them off, they get a little umbrella to fall down with. How ridiculous is that? I think it's safe to say that we are done here, so roll the outro. As the village slowly woke up and its froggy inhabitants began to go about their days, Millie and I took one last look at the village before beginning the long trek home, knowing we had achieved our goal of creating a cozy frog village in my forever world. My name is Em, this is Millie, and you have all been amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.